Assassinations of Russia installed officials on the rise in occupied Ukraine.
Here's a summary of the article.
Prior to Russia's attack on Ukraine in February, Kovalev was a deputy in the Ukrainian parliament and a member of President Volodymyr Zelensky's Servant of the People party. But, after much of Ukraine's southern Kherson region was seized by Russian troops in the first weeks of the invasion, he switched sides. The tempo of such killings in Russian-occupied Ukraine has risen in recent weeks as the Kremlin looks to accelerate the political integration of occupied Ukraine into Russia, and Kyiv pushes forward with an offensive to retake land around the strategic city of Kherson. About Kremlin plans for referendums on joining Russia in occupied Ukraine, no concrete timetable for such votes has yet been put in place. As Ukraine stepped up preparations for an offensive near Kherson last week, the Moscow-appointed deputy head of domestic policy for Kherson region, Igor Telegin, survived when what is reported to have been a remote-controlled explosive was detonated by the side of the road. While most attacks, 10 of the 19 tallied by War Translated, seem to have taken place in the Kherson region, other regions of occupied Ukraine have also witnessed a spate of killings. One result of the killings is that Russia is likely to face staff shortages for political and administrative roles in the occupied regions, according to experts. Either way, if Kyiv's counter-offensive in southern Ukraine stalls, the number and frequency of assassinations by Ukrainian partisans could rise, Skorkin said, as spreading chaos in the rear of Russian troops becomes a substitute for retaking territory.
This post received a score of 5800, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Is not assassination, is kinetic special election.
You got my attention at kinetic special erection, but then I realized I was just misreading.
Greater than either way, if Kyiv's counteroffensive in southern Ukraine stalls, the number and frequency of assassinations by Ukrainian partisans could rise, Skorkin said, as spreading chaos in the rear of Russian troops becomes a substitute for retaking territory. I'm sure we can have both.
Just by looking at the US's wars, this works. Just look at the Taliban. In fact, this was the original plan.
Russia's plan must have been to remove all potential problematic locals and replace with Russians. The Americans didn't do that to my knowledge.
Their original plan was to sweep the whole country extremely quickly because all the local officials were supposed to be paid off. But the FSB really screwed the pooch. That's why a rather sizable contingency of the FSB was excised, because they squandered all the money meant for the officials to their own pockets. Classic Russian bureaucracy.
From early reports, it was even better than that. They paid off some Ukrainians who then didn't betray their country when Russia invaded and used the money to help defend the country.
Greater than, traitor Kovalev, posted on Facebook. Russia is here seriously and forever. 2 weeks later, he survived a car bombing. And 2 months later he was shot to death. It was a really fucking bad Facebook post with no other way to dislike.
Greater than, it was a really fucking bad Facebook post with no other way to dislike. That's funny. Sounds like someone found the best way to dislike.
Don't forget Zook was happy with Putin's trolls posting so much clickbait generating profits in 2015 and 2016.
Zuckerberg is such a devil.
He is a Chinese android when you look at him. He was replaced a long time ago, can only explain how he got a perfect 1600 on the Sats.
Lesson of history are never learnt. Look closely at WW2 in Nazi-occupied territories and see what happened both during and after occupation.
Like the Band of Brothers episode in Holland.
Enemy plant in occupied territory killed during war. Fixed that for you.
Yeah, no kidding. Traitors would have been my word choice though.
Some are traitors, some are Russians that came from Moscow, but all of them are scum.
Russia can't even manage a war, now they have a war, an occupation, an insurgency, and oligarch infighting at home to manage. The Russian tire fire is about to be LAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAA
the all-you-can and will eat economic collapse buffet.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.